My dear child, the instant you pressed play, an unseen force stirred, as the individual who has long sought to usurp your place became acutely aware of a daunting reality. Despite their relentless efforts, countless disguises, and exhaustive attempts to mimic your essence, they are incapable of occupying your unique position. This narrative began well before the present moment, before they even discerned their desires. It commenced when someone recognized your irreplaceability. Since that moment, this individual has been plagued by insomnia, anxiety, and an unraveling sense of self, all in their futile quest to become what only you can authentically embody. However, this evening marks a notable change. A significant shift is occurring, and they are acutely aware of it. They sense that their final opportunity is dwindling, as the very thing they coveted, longed for, and implored for, is retracting toward you, as if destiny is realigning itself. Pay attention now, for the profound truth you are about to uncover is often unacknowledged by others. Someone within your sphere, whether close or observing from afar, has been scrutinizing you with a hidden obsession, which they would never confess. They have examined your expressions, your silences, your strengths, and even your scars. They have modeled their behavior, how you walk, speak, laugh, or think, believing that by doing so, they could incite in another the same regard that was previously reserved for you. Their misguided belief was that by mimicking your persona, they could secure their place in another's heart, mind, or life. Yet, they fail to comprehend that your worth is derived not from your actions, but from your very essence. The universe possesses a peculiar way of safeguarding individuals like you. Each time they endeavored to supplant you, an invisible barrier obstructed them. Each imitation they attempted resulted in the shattering of their facade. Every effort to diminish your presence only amplified your essence. Currently, this individual is engulfed in panic, as the person they sought to impress begins to penetrate the veil of deception. Here lies the unforeseen twist. The person they endeavored to overshadow is awakening to the differences in energy, intention, and authenticity between you both. They are scrutinizing the comparisons, and with each assessment, the imitator's facade crumbles. They are confronted with the realization that the one attempting to replace you displays insecurities in their gaze, desperation in their voice, and jealousy seeping through every contrived smile. Conversely, your absence is resonating more profoundly than your presence ever did. Conversations are revolving around you. Memories are resurfacing. Regrets are burgeoning. And that individual, once dismissive of you, is silently reevaluating every choice made. Someone is beginning to grasp that they have alienated the one soul that could never be replicated. Meanwhile, the individual striving to supplant you is confronted with an unexpected emotion, fear. They are apprehensive of exposure, rejection, comparison, and the haunting realization that they will perpetually remain in a secondary role, no matter how aggressively they assert themselves as first. Let us delve deeper into the aspect they have concealed even from their own consciousness. Their inability to replace you stems from the fact that the connection you fostered was not predicated on charm, appearance, or convenience. It was rooted in profound impact. You transformed someone in ways they had yet to comprehend. You unearthed buried parts of their soul that no one else had ever touched. You mended wounds they never confessed existed. You evoked emotions they had buried so deeply that they remained oblivious until the void left by your absence became apparent. This other individual perceives this truth. They recognize the futility of competing with a bond that transcends the physical, superficial, or temporal. They are aware that they are wrestling with something greater than themselves, something cosmic, something destined, something written long before either of you manifested in this life. The more they endeavor to usurp you, the more glaringly evident it becomes that they are waging war against fate. And we know that fate is indefatigable. The individual attempting to replace you is rapidly depleting their options, lies, and opportunities. They are witnessing everything slip from their grasp, their plans disintegrating piece by piece. The person they sought to possess is gradually retreating from them, drawn back to you without conscious awareness. They feel beleaguered, unmasked, and powerless, with the irreproducible magnetism you naturally exude. In private, they are unraveling, questioning their worth, pondering why they cannot prevail, why they cannot emulate you, and why they fail to elicit the desired response. The reality is straightforward: you are irreplaceable, inimitable, and unrepeatable. Someone is painfully learning this truth, while the one they sought to commandeer is quietly, inexorably gravitating back toward you, as fate begins its correction. Before proceeding further, I urge you to remain present, for what I am about to reveal will clarify whether you grasp the entirety of this truth or remain obscured. The individual who endeavored to supplant you now confronts a stark reality they never anticipated. The subject of their intense desire is starting to re-evaluate everything. As this transformation unfolds, your presence, energy, and memory rise like a tempest. There is no escape for them. Their dread morphs into frustration, frustration into obsession, and obsession into desperation. Behind closed doors, they are shattering, struggling to maintain their pretense. The one they wish to impress is slowly discerning that their words lack alignment with their actions, their confidence is a facade, and their intentions are steeped in insecurity. Meanwhile, every subtle reminder of you strikes harder than the last, as they sift through past conversations, replaying your words, and recollecting what they swore had been forgotten. Every recollection serves as poison to the imitator. Now, listen closely, for here lies the pivotal moment of clarity. Someone attempted to seize your position, under the misconception that they could radiate the same light, offer the same comfort, and possess the same emotional weight you naturally evoke simply by existing. Yet, the individual they desired has finally recognized a truth that will dismantle every scheme concocted by the imitator. Your connection was not contingent upon effort, it was grounded in impactful resonance. You did not plead for attention, your silence wielded power. You did not labor to validate your worth, your mere presence sufficed. You did not impose, everything unfolded organically. The imitator is now aware that they introduce chaos, confusion, jealousy, and pressure, whereas you imbue tranquility. And this tranquility is an intangible quality that cannot be replicated by someone driven by fear of loss, fear of exposure, and fear of inadequacy. The impending moment that will astonish you is approaching. The individual who previously dismissed you is beginning to advocate for your worth. They catch themselves making comparisons that highlight each minor detail. They question why they experience none of the anticipated excitement, safety, or connection with the other person. They are gradually withdrawing. Meanwhile, the individual attempting to replace you feels the weight of this change, painfully perceptive of the shift in body language, tone, and emotional distance. They observe the insecurities they worked so hard to conceal emerging from the shadows. And, most troubling of all, societal scrutiny is unraveling their facade. Observers are whispering, advising, and warning as the truth spreads. They do not resonate with the energy shared with you. This realization haunts the imitator's psyche. However, let me impart the most profound truth that will reverberate within: destiny is reversed. The individual who sought to replace you is becoming overshadowed, overlooked, and ignored in ways they scarcely anticipated. The person they desired is beginning to see through every embellishment, every deception, and every forced display of confidence. They are becoming attuned to patterns of emotional manipulation and insecurities masquerading as attention-seeking behavior. Your absence now resonates far louder than their presence. Each conversation feels hollow, every moment contrived, and every smile disingenuous. In stark contrast, memories of you feel genuine, warm, and effortless. This moment catalyzes their realization that they chose ephemeral noise over a lasting connection. Once this epiphany occurs, the entire framework for the imitator collapses. Maintain this energy as we approach the climax. The individual striving to supplant you is on the verge of confronting the one reality they dreaded the most. A truth that threatens to obliterate their confidence and unearth everything they have concealed, while the person they desired is quietly, gradually, and irrevocably returning to you. What transpires next will irrevocably alter the trajectory of this narrative. Deep within, destiny is orchestrating an extraordinary twist. If you wish to further express your support, you may opt for super thanks, contributing up to $20. My cherished child, a potent force is quietly unfurling, something profoundly unexpected that even the imitator could not foresee. The individual they sought to impress, whom they believed they had secured, is subtly retracting their energy without uttering a single word. This shift is faint, nearly imperceptible from an external perspective, yet to the imitator, it feels as though the very ground beneath them is fracturing. They are increasingly aware of delayed responses, enforced dialogues, a noticeable change in tone, an unexpected lack of curiosity, and an unexplainable coldness. Each instance of this growing distance triggers anxiety within them, as they know, deep down, the truth they have attempted to evade. They may emulate you, yet they can never replicate the profound emotional resonance you created effortlessly. Consequently, the individual they desired is beginning to recognize this difference so acutely that it impacts their decisions, thoughts, and responses. Allow me to delve deeper into the essence of the current situation, for this moment uncovers everything. The person they yearned for is starting to discern the imitation. They observe how the pretender constantly competes, exerts excessive effort, craves attention, and seeks validation. They detect the insecurity lurking behind each exaggerated display of emotion, along with the jealousy in their eyes. Conversations with this individual feel burdensome, exhausting, and laden with unspoken expectations. In contrast, thoughts of you, even if you remain silent, distant, or absent, evoke a sense of softness within them. Your memory imparts clarity rather than confusion, while your energy fosters tranquility instead of chaos. Your presence established balance, not pressure. Suddenly, they come to the realization that what they experienced with you was extraordinary, not temporary or coincidental, but rare. Such rare experiences cannot be substituted by someone who approaches life as a contest. Herein lies a twist unforeseen by anyone, including the individual you once held dear. They have begun to compare minute details, and every comparison ultimately favors you. They note how you never sought validation, never attempted to control or chase, and communicated with authenticity instead of insecurity. They recognize that your silence often conveyed more significance than the words of the imitator. Now, something within them is awakening. They are realizing that the one who sought to replace you does not offer the same depth, emotional safety, or innate connection. Each time the imitation attempts to secure their position, it only alienates the other person further. The harder they strive to be acknowledged, the more invisible they become. They wish to cling tightly, yet fate is evading them, and they cannot halt its course. The genuine fear begins to set in, as the imitator senses an uncontrollable threat. They perceive the emotional distance intensifying, attention shifting, silence growing heavier, and comparisons becoming stark. They realize they are losing a grip they never truly possessed. Though they may not vocalize it, they are crumbling inside. Their greatest fear is materializing. They are becoming a fleeting phase, a mere placeholder, a shadow. They dread that the individual they desire may walk away or, even worse, may already contemplate returning to you. They understand they cannot rival the chemistry you shared, cannot erase the memories you created, nor can they replicate the transformative nature of your presence. This fear consumes them. However, the most startling revelation, one that will captivate your audience, is this: the person who once overlooked, betrayed, or undervalued you is now experiencing guilt. They replay past conversations in their minds, regretting unspoken words and questioning the distance they allowed to form. They recollect how you treated them, the understanding you offered, and the sense of safety you provided. Each realization strikes them like a blow to the chest. They are beginning to comprehend that they have not merely lost someone, they have lost someone irreplaceable, unforgettable, someone whose absence resonates louder than any presence they have encountered since. And now, inexplicably and irresistibly, their heart is gravitating back toward you. My cherished child, what transpires now transcends mere ego, intentions, and all that the imitator expected. The entire situation is reshaping silently in your favor, unbeknownst to the one who sought to supplant you, as their foundation crumbles rapidly. The individual they coveted, whom they believed they had secured, is now feeling a potent emotional pull, but not toward them. This pull is directed toward you. Initially subtle, like a faint whisper within their heart, it grows louder with each passing hour. They begin to question their sense of fulfillment, the forced nature of the connection, and why everything feels so burdensome. Meanwhile, the imitator senses a wildfire of panic spreading in their chest, as the one they desire slips through their fingers without explanation. Hold on, for the next aspect of this truth will render your audience silent. Something extraordinary is unfolding, and those witnessing must engage by sharing their responses and subscribing to stay connected, lest they miss the revelation that shifts the entire narrative. The imitator is starting to realize a chilling truth: they were never chosen for their presence, but rather selected because your absence created an ephemeral void. That void did not signify your replaceability, it merely indicated that the person you cherished was lost, confused, and broken, seeking comfort in misdirected ways. Now, they are awakening, recognizing patterns they previously overlooked, identifying hidden intentions, and perceiving emotional manipulation veiled in sweetness. They are detecting the insecurity beneath every dramatic gesture. All at once, the individual who once tried to supplant you begins to feel like an outsider, as your presence linked a profound emotional connection that cannot be replicated, borrowed, or reconstructed by someone pretending to be you. But the ensuing twist is what decimates the imitator, as the individual they desired starts to speak of you again, albeit quietly and indirectly, in fragments that echo in the imitator's psyche. They mention how you once provided a sense of safety, recall conversations that offered clarity rather than confusion, and remember moments when your silence resonated more profoundly than anyone else's words. Now, they find themselves asking, did I lose the only person who ever genuinely understood me? This singular realization shatters the imitator's self-assurance. They witness the change in the other person's eyes, perceive the softening at the mention of your name, and notice the unexpected appearance of regret. They see the wall of emotional distance forming. As these developments unfold, they confront their own reflection, becoming acutely aware of their invisibility, replaceability, and temporariness, everything they once attributed to you. This is the moment your audience cannot afford to look away. The moment when destiny humiliates the imitator in unfathomable ways. The individual they craved is now emotionally detaching, canceling plans, avoiding meaningful conversations, withholding reassurance, and lacking enthusiasm. Their spirit is retreating. The imitator observes this unraveling like a nightmare in slow motion, desperately attempting to converse more, act more, give more, and feign more. Yet, the more they strive, the more evident it becomes that they are merely a stand-in, a backup, a distraction. Consequently, the one they desire now questions everything, not due to any faults of the imitator, but rather in light of all that you embodied effortlessly. Suddenly, the individual they yearn for comprehends that you were not a mere phase, you were the pivotal moment in their life. Before concluding, permit me to guide you through the next epiphany, for this is where destiny turns the tide. The imitator is losing the emotional contest, influence, trust, and the hold they believed they possessed. Meanwhile, the person they sought is being quietly, secretly, and significantly drawn back to you. Not out of convenience or nostalgia, but because their essence recognizes where it truly felt alive. This is the juncture where everything shifts substantially. This is the moment the individual who sought to replace you starts to grasp the reality: they were never the choice, they were merely a fleeting moment. My beloved child, as you step into this facet of the truth, everything comes into sharper focus, for destiny is no longer murmurings, it is a resounding echo. The one who attempted to supplant you now stands at the precipice of their greatest breakdown, unable to mask it any longer. Their confidence is fraying, certainty is dissolving, and their grasp on reality is disintegrating like sand slipping through trembling fingers. The individual they wished to retain has emotionally disengaged, even if this has not yet been verbally articulated. The silence between them amplifies, the distance deepens, and the imitator feels it reverberate within every corner of their being. They are acutely aware that something is amiss, something is shifting, something is unraveling. The most agonizing realization is that it is all attributed to you, not because of anything proactive you did, but because of who you are, the essence you embody, the memory you evoke, the impact you impart, and the presence that resonates even in your absence. The one element they could never replicate. Herein lies the core of a profoundly intense narrative. The imitator, now facing the emotional breakdown they had long dreaded, struggles to maintain a facade of normalcy. They attempt to remain calm and project an air of stability, yet internally, they are in turmoil. Their compulsive checking of messages escalates, they overanalyze every nuance in tone, scrutinizing each pause in conversation. They strive to elongate dialogues, infuse humor, and deepen exchanges. However, the individual they desire responds with curt replies, strained laughter, and a distracted demeanor. It is clear that their emotional investment has dwindled, and the imitator feels this loss like a chilling wind encircling their heart. Each effort they make seems to drive the other person further away, leading to the painful realization that their competition was never with you, but rather with fate, an adversary they could never hope to surpass. Fate invariably draws souls back to their rightful place. Now, the emotional upheaval begins, captivating all who witness it. The person the imitator covets starts expressing themselves differently. They are engaging in deeper inquiries, verbalizing their thoughts, and reflecting on past missteps. They revisit memories of you, recognizing the moments they previously undervalued. They compare the tranquility you provided with the chaos the imitator engenders. There are no arguments or dramatic confrontations, only emotional fatigue. They begin to see how the imitator craves attention, validation, and control, while you naturally instilled a sense of worth. They come to understand that what you offered was not fleeting, it was transformative. Experiencing a profound connection at the soul level compels one to seek it out for the remainder of their life, and that pursuit has already commenced. Here comes the dramatic twist that will rattle the imitator to their very core, the moment that shatters the illusion completely. The person they endeavored to usurp starts to pay attention to you once more. They observe your updates, your social media, your name, and even your silence. They are drawn to you with a force the imitator cannot thwart, intercept, or reverse. as their emotional connection to you strengthens. The imitator's worst fears materialize. They find themselves relegated to a mere option, a temporary diversion, experiencing emotional walls rising around them, drained energy, and insufficient effort characterized by every, "I'm busy, I'll talk later," and "I don't know." Fear transforms into desperation. They intensify their efforts, cling more tightly, and demand additional affirmation. Yet, each endeavor backfires. The individual they desire is losing interest at a velocity that surpasses the imitator's ability to feign assurance. Then comes the final, devastating realization when destiny reveals its ultimate design. The individual attempting to substitute you observes the gradual disintegration of their situation. Unable to halt the disintegration, the one they longed for is withdrawing, emotionally retracting and disappearing. No longer are they excited, pursuing, or investing. Their heart now belongs elsewhere, somewhere familiar, meaningful, and alive. It is with you. Your essence calls to them, your memory lingers, and your name reverberates through their thoughts. They endeavored to move forward, to substitute you, to feign happiness, but the truth is undeniable: you are irreplaceable, and fate is inexorably drawing them back, whether they acknowledge it or not. This is the climactic moment when everything unravels. Everything the imitator feared, suppressed, and attempted to control unfolds before their eyes. And this time, no facade can obscure the reality. The individual they attempted to replace you for reaches a pivotal emotional juncture. They can no longer maintain the pretense. They can no longer deceive themselves. They cannot conjure feelings that are simply non-existent. Their heart has detached so completely that the imitator feels as if they are engaging with a stranger. The warmth, the spark, the curiosity, all have vanished. The imitator understands precisely why. Your energy, your presence, your memory have resurfaced in their thoughts like an irresistible tide. Their heart is gravitating towards you with a compelling force that the imitator cannot contend with or impede. Destiny is rewriting the narrative in real time. But here comes the unforeseen collapse. The person of their desire begins to scrutinize everything: the intentions, the words, the behaviors exhibited by the imitator. Suddenly, they recognize the jealousy, the desperation, the insecurity, the incessant craving for attention. They realize that nothing feels organic, everything is contrived, and every interaction feels like a performance rather than a genuine connection. This realization strikes them with clarity. This is not love, it is not comfort, it is not authentic. In that moment, the imitator becomes acutely aware that their essence never equaled yours. Where you provided tranquility, they imparted pressure. Where you brought transparency, they generated confusion. Consequently, the individual they sought is emotionally disengaging in ways the imitator cannot rectify. From this point forward, the exposure begins, the moment that dismantles every illusion constructed by the imitator. Someone close to the situation, perhaps a friend, a family member, or even an unexpected voice, articulates the words that tear asunder their carefully crafted facade: "You were happier with the other one." That declaration strikes the imitator like a physical blow. They recognize the identity of the other one. They are fully aware of the validity in the comparisons and that they are losing control. Their deepest fears have materialized into a reality they can no longer evade, as the person they desire ceases to defend, choose, or fight for the bond. They have turned distant, detached, and disinterested. Regardless of the imitator's response, whether crying, begging, clinging, or feigning strength and confidence, nothing succeeds. Their energy cannot overshadow a genuine connection. Destiny is persistently pulling back toward you. Then comes the most excruciating moment when the person they covet articulates a phrase that shatters the imitator completely: "I don't feel the same anymore." That statement obliterates everything, marking the instant the copycat comprehends they have lost the emotional battle they were never equipped to fight. The person they yearn for is consciously retracting, not gradually, but resolutely. Their heart is closing off, their interest is waning, their energy is shifting, every shift inching back toward you. They experience guilt for having left you behind, they yearn for the stability you bestowed, they miss the emotional safety you cultivated, they long for the version of themselves that flourished only in your presence. As this emotional truth surfaces, the imitator watches helplessly, powerless to halt the inevitable. Now, destiny delivers the final blow, the moment that leaves the imitator utterly broken. The person they tried to retain begins to distance themselves completely. Fewer calls, fewer texts, increased silence, more contemplation, heightened emotional clarity, tears, confusion, and regret. These all arise because they have pushed away the one individual destiny strategically placed in their life. As this truth sinks deeper into their heart, the imitator confronts the ultimate reality: they were never capable of replacing you. They were never the chosen one. They were merely a distraction until the universe restored everything to its rightful place.